Are you in a relationship, yet something deep within you feels unsettled? Life has a way of offering lessons wrapped in subtle experiences, and relationships are no exception. Often, the things we ignore or dismiss today can have profound consequences tomorrow. In this exploration, we delve into the delicate art of discernment, a practice deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy and ancient wisdom. Recognizing behavioral patterns in those we connect with, especially within romantic relationships, isn't about passing judgment. Rather, it is about gaining clarity. The Stoics emphasize self-control and awareness as the pillars of personal well-being, reminding us that knowing who we choose to let into our lives directly impacts the health of our mind, heart, and soul. In today's fast-paced world, we often rush into relationships without taking the time to deeply observe the other person's values and intentions. This lack of careful introspection can expose us to unnecessary emotional turmoil. Just as a seasoned sailor carefully assesses the weather before setting sail, we, too, must cultivate the habit of recognizing the subtle signs that might reveal the emotional terrain of the person we are involved with. Knowing when to pause, reflect, and adjust course is not merely a precaution but a profound act of self-respect. This discussion invites you to step back and evaluate, not out of fear or suspicion, but out of wisdom and self-protection. We will uncover 10 nuanced behaviors that might indicate a history of emotional patterns shaped by multiple past relationships. These signs do not dictate someone's worth, nor should they be treated as final judgments, but they do offer valuable insights. With a calm mind and steady heart, these observations can empower you to make intentional choices aligned with your principles, ensuring that you guard both your emotional boundaries and your peace of mind. So, as we embark on this reflective journey, remember that every step taken toward greater understanding is a step toward mastering yourself, a path the Stoics walked with unwavering discipline. If you are ready to navigate the complex landscape of relationships with wisdom and inner strength, join us until the end of this conversation. May it guide you toward the clarity and balance that the Stoic sages believed were essential for a fulfilled life. 1. Excessive ease with physical intimacy. In the early stages of intimacy, you might expect the experience to unfold with emotional depth and tenderness, moments marked by connection, vulnerability, and shared discovery. Yet, what happens when the encounter feels too smooth, too effortless, as though every touch and movement is second nature? If a woman seems unusually comfortable with physical closeness from the very beginning, it could signal that she has traversed these waters many times before. While this might not necessarily be a cause for alarm, it serves as a subtle indicator worth considering through the lens of self-awareness and discernment. From a Stoic perspective, emotional restraint and thoughtful observation are key to maintaining balance. If the experience leaves you with more questions than fulfillment, if it feels like the moment was transactional rather than transformative, it may suggest that intimacy has become routine for her. Pay attention to whether she initiates touch easily or engages without hesitation, as though following a familiar script. Such behavior could hint at a past shaped by numerous encounters, but it is essential not to jump to conclusions. The Stoic way teaches us to remain neutral in judgment, observing patterns without immediate attachment to interpretations. This excessive ease may also reflect a comfort with expressing herself physically, which is not inherently negative. Some individuals are naturally attuned to their physicality and find joy in expressing affection openly. However, the question lies in whether the physical interaction feels grounded in genuine connection or serves as a superficial substitute for deeper emotional bonding. If you notice that this ease in physical intimacy is accompanied by a lack of emotional openness or other behaviors that make you feel uneasy, it is important to pause and reflect. Stoicism encourages us to safeguard our emotional well-being without succumbing to distrust or cynicism. Rather than making assumptions based on one experience, consider the broader context of your relationship. Does her behavior align with your values and emotional needs? or does it leave you feeling out of sync? Ultimately, self-respect lies in making conscious choices about who you allow into your inner world. If the relationship begins to lean too heavily on physical intimacy at the expense of emotional depth, take it as a moment to recalibrate. The balance between heart and mind is essential for any meaningful connection, and it is your responsibility to ensure that this balance is honored. 2. Reluctance to establish emotional intimacy. Even the strongest among us crave emotional intimacy, a shared space where two souls connect beyond words and surface-level exchanges. A healthy relationship thrives on the ability to open one's heart, creating a bond that provides resilience during life's inevitable storms. However, if the woman you are involved with seems reluctant to engage emotionally, preferring instead to maintain a guarded distance, it may suggest a deeper issue. The absence of emotional intimacy can feel like you are standing in front of a closed door, knocking repeatedly without ever being invited in. This emotional barrier could hint at a past marked by fleeting connections, where emotional investment was avoided to protect oneself from future heartbreak. In Stoicism, emotional detachment is a tool for managing inner peace. But when detachment is misapplied in relationships, it becomes a barrier that prevents true connection. If every time you try to delve into meaningful conversations, exploring her dreams, fears, or emotional landscape, she diverts the topic to lighter matters, it could indicate that emotional vulnerability is something she has learned to avoid. The ancient Stoics remind us that meaningful relationships require both honesty and the courage to confront discomfort. Without emotional depth, even the most thrilling relationship will eventually feel hollow, like a beautifully wrapped gift with nothing inside. It's important, however, to approach such situations with compassion. Her emotional distance might not stem from disinterest but from unresolved wounds, past experiences that have taught her to guard her heart. She may need time to heal before she feels safe enough to engage emotionally. As Epictetus advised, we should not expect events to happen as we wish, but rather accept events as they unfold. Similarly, patience is sometimes necessary, allowing space for her to grow comfortable in sharing her inner world. However, patience does not mean sacrificing your own emotional needs indefinitely. Stoicism teaches us the importance of balancing care for others with self-preservation. While you may choose to support her healing process, it is equally vital to protect yourself from a relationship that offers little in return. If repeated efforts to foster emotional closeness are met with resistance or indifference, you must ask yourself whether this relationship aligns with your values. Amor Fati, the love of one's fate, reminds us to embrace life as it unfolds, even if it means walking away from relationships that cannot nourish the soul. Recognizing when to persist and when to release is the mark of true wisdom and self-mastery. 3. Inconsistent or contradictory stories. In relationships, honesty is the foundation upon which trust is built. When stories about the past shift, evolve, or contradict each other, it creates a sense of unease that cannot be ignored. A partner whose narratives are inconsistent, sharing one version of events one day only to offer a different account the next, invites confusion rather than clarity. If you find yourself struggling to piece together her past based on fragmented or conflicting details, it may indicate that she is concealing certain truths. The Stoics teach us that a calm and steady mind must be cultivated through clarity and alignment with the truth. When clarity is absent, emotional turbulence follows, preventing the harmony that every relationship requires to thrive. Contradictions can take subtle forms, mentioning past relationships vaguely, denying experiences she once acknowledged, or referencing shared moments that seem at odds with how she presents herself now. While not every inconsistency signals intentional deceit, it does suggest a lack of alignment between words and reality. Marcus Aurelius advised, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." Likewise, the stories we tell about ourselves reflect our inner world. If her stories are shrouded in ambiguity, it could mean she is either reluctant to reveal her true self or has yet to reconcile her past. However, Stoicism reminds us to approach these situations without haste or harsh judgment. People sometimes hide parts of their past not out of malice, but out of fear of being judged, misunderstood, or seen through the lens of past mistakes. Before drawing conclusions, it is essential to observe patterns with patience and composure. A few scattered inconsistencies may be harmless, but if discrepancies become a recurring theme, it is worth addressing them directly. Ask questions calmly, not as an interrogation, but as a way to foster understanding and transparency. Yet, if after these efforts the inconsistencies persist or deepen, it may be a sign that she is not ready for the kind of openness that a meaningful relationship demands. Trust, once broken, is difficult to restore, and relationships built on shaky foundations cannot endure life's inevitable challenges. Stoicism teaches us the importance of apatheia, the serene state of mind undisturbed by external events. If her shifting narratives begin to disrupt your peace, it is a sign that you must protect your inner stability. Walking away from uncertainty, no matter how difficult, is not an act of fear but a demonstration of wisdom. Relationships thrive on honesty, and a bond lacking in sincerity is ultimately a weight the soul cannot bear for long. 4. Frequently cancels plans at the last minute. A person's consistency reveals the value they place on a relationship. When plans are repeatedly canceled or changed without clear reasons, it creates uncertainty, leaving you to question your importance in her life. While life is unpredictable and emergencies are inevitable, chronic last-minute cancellations signal more than mere inconvenience. The Stoics remind us that actions, not words, are the truest indicators of character. If she frequently shifts plans, especially without transparent explanations, it may suggest that her commitment to the relationship is shallow or that her priorities lie elsewhere. Every relationship requires effort and presence, both of which are reflected in the willingness to make time for each other. If meetings are constantly postponed with vague justifications, such as sudden work obligations or unexpected social engagements, this behavior can indicate avoidance. It leaves you in a perpetual state of waiting, unsure of where you truly stand. Marcus Aurelius once advised, "The soul becomes dyed by the color of its habitual thoughts." In relationships, these habitual actions, whether intentional or not, gradually shape how valued we feel. If plans are continuously broken, it suggests that, consciously or unconsciously, she may not view the relationship as a priority. However, before reacting, it is essential to approach the situation with composure. The Stoic way teaches us not to jump to conclusions, but to seek understanding first. Her unpredictable behavior may not necessarily stem from disinterest. It could reflect the complexities of her life or unspoken struggles. Inquire gently but firmly about the pattern you have observed. Express how these sudden changes affect you, but without demanding explanations or displaying frustration. The goal is not control but clarity, an understanding of where both of you stand. Yet, Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of boundaries and emotional self-preservation. If her behavior persists despite open conversations, it becomes essential to reassess your role in the relationship. There is wisdom in knowing when to persevere and when to walk away. Epictetus taught that some things are within our control, and some things are not. If her behavior continues to disrupt your inner peace, it may be a sign that she is unwilling or unable to offer the consistency that meaningful relationships require. In these moments, the strongest decision may be to step back, releasing yourself from the burden of unmet expectations. True connection thrives on reliability, and where it is absent, peace can only be restored by letting go. 5. Subtle comparisons to past partners. In relationships, comparisons, no matter how subtle, can sow seeds of insecurity that grow into resentment over time. If a woman frequently compares you to her past partners, whether intentionally or not, it can leave you feeling inadequate, as though you are being measured against an invisible standard. At first, these comparisons may appear harmless, a casual remark about how your cooking differs from that of an ex, or how a past relationship involved activities you've never considered. However, over time, these comments accumulate, making it feel like you are competing with ghosts from her past. As Stoicism teaches, the opinions of others should not disturb our peace, but persistent comparisons can test even the strongest resolve. When someone carries unresolved attachments to former relationships, it often manifests through these comparisons, consciously or unconsciously. A Stoic mindset reminds us to view such behavior not as a reflection of our shortcomings, but as a mirror into the other person's emotional state. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Look within. Within is the fountain of good, and it will ever bubble up, if thou wilt ever dig." If she repeatedly compares you to her exes, it may indicate that she has not yet dug deeply enough to reconcile her past, leaving her emotionally unprepared for the present. Rather than reacting with frustration or self-doubt, the Stoic approach encourages a calm and measured response. Gently but firmly express how these comparisons make you feel, not from a place of anger, but from a desire for clarity and mutual respect. Make it known that you are not seeking to replace anyone from her past, but are building something unique and meaningful in the present. The Stoic concept of sympathia, the idea that we are interconnected and can influence one another's growth, reminds us that relationships thrive when both partners are fully present and committed. However, if she continues to draw comparisons despite your efforts to communicate your feelings, it may signal that she remains too tethered to the past to fully invest in the relationship. A relationship built on the echoes of former lovers cannot provide the fertile ground needed for mutual growth. As Epictetus advised, make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens. If her past becomes an immovable obstacle in your journey together, it may be time to ask yourself whether this is a path you wish to continue. You deserve a relationship where you are seen and valued for who you are, not through the distorted lens of past experiences. True connection is born when two people engage with each other as they are in the present moment, free from the burdens of comparison. 6. Guarded and secretive phone behavior. In any relationship built on trust, openness is essential, especially when it comes to communication. If you notice that your partner is unusually secretive about her phone use, it can stir feelings of doubt and unease. Whether she quickly flips her phone face down when you are near, changes the screen the moment you glance her way, or becomes defensive when a message or call arrives, such behavior sends a subtle signal that something may be amiss. The Stoic principle of claritas, the pursuit of clear and untroubled understanding, teaches us to seek transparency, not as a means of control, but as a foundation for mutual respect and trust. Of course, everyone has a right to privacy, and healthy boundaries are essential. However, when secrecy becomes a habit, it erodes the sense of safety and connection that relationships require. If she refuses to share even basic information about who she's communicating with or becomes overly defensive when questioned, it may indicate that she is guarding something significant. As Epictetus taught, we are disturbed not by things, but by the views we take of them. While her behavior may not be inherently deceptive, the ambiguity it creates can generate unnecessary emotional turmoil, leaving you wondering where you truly stand. It is crucial, however, to avoid rushing to conclusions. The Stoics remind us to approach uncertainty with calm reflection rather than impulsive judgment. Her secretive behavior may have an innocent explanation. Perhaps she values her personal space or feels overwhelmed by past experiences where her privacy was not respected. In such cases, your role is to foster an environment where open communication feels safe and unforced. Express your concerns gently, making it clear that trust is not about intrusion but about creating a space where neither partner needs to hide. Yet, if your efforts to build transparency are met with continued resistance, the Stoic lesson of apatheia, freedom from emotional disturbance, comes into play. Relationships require a delicate balance between trust and individuality. If her secretive habits persist, leaving you in a state of doubt and emotional instability, it may be a sign that the relationship is not aligned with the peace and clarity you seek. Trust is the bedrock of all meaningful connections, and without it, the relationship becomes a source of inner conflict. The wise choice in such a case may be to step back, preserving your own well-being and peace of mind. As Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." A relationship clouded by secrecy cannot foster the truth or trust necessary for lasting harmony. 7. Overly invested in appearance. While it is natural to take pride in one's appearance, an obsession with outward presentation may indicate something deeper beneath the surface. If your partner spends an inordinate amount of time perfecting her appearance, constantly adjusting makeup, choosing outfits with meticulous care, or frequently checking herself in mirrors or on social media, it may suggest that her sense of self-worth is tied too closely to how she is perceived. As Stoicism teaches, focusing too much on external things is a distraction from what truly matters: character and inner virtue. In relationships, this fixation can create an imbalance, shifting attention away from emotional depth and meaningful connection towards superficial qualities. You might notice conversations revolving more around appearances, hers, yours, or even those of others, while deeper discussions about values or shared experiences are avoided. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If most of her thoughts and energy are absorbed by appearance, it reflects a mind oriented outward rather than inward, where true growth begins. However, it's important to approach this behavior with understanding. People who prioritize their appearance may do so for a variety of reasons. Perhaps past relationships emphasized aesthetics, making her feel validated only through beauty. Or she might have developed habits of external focus as a defense mechanism, a way of coping with insecurities that remain unresolved. As Epictetus taught, first say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. In this light, your role becomes one of gentle guidance, encouraging her to cultivate self-worth beyond appearance while maintaining your own emotional clarity. Nevertheless, if after open conversations you find that her focus on appearance continues to dominate the relationship, leaving little room for growth or emotional connection, it may be time to reconsider the path forward. The Stoic principle of ataraxia, a state of tranquility, reminds us that peace is found not in the pursuit of external validation, but in the alignment of our actions with our values. A relationship preoccupied with appearance is unlikely to provide the depth or fulfillment that Stoic wisdom encourages. True connection thrives when both partners engage not just with how they appear, but with who they are at their core. If this balance is missing, the wise course may be to release the relationship and seek one where inner character, rather than outward image, becomes the foundation for mutual respect and growth. 8. Reluctance to discuss sexual health. In a relationship rooted in trust, open discussions about sexual health are essential, not only to ensure physical well-being, but also to foster a deeper sense of mutual respect and safety. If your partner avoids or deflects conversations on this topic, it may raise questions about what is being left unsaid. Transparency about past experiences, contraceptive methods, and shared responsibility for health forms the foundation of a relationship that honors both partners' emotional and physical well-being. As the Stoics teach, truth and clarity are essential to living a harmonious life. When these elements are missing, doubt begins to erode peace of mind. Avoidance in this area can stem from several sources. It may reflect unresolved insecurities, or a fear of being judged for past decisions. Alternatively, it could indicate a reluctance to disclose information about prior experiences, which may leave you in the dark about potential risks. While it is natural for some to feel uncomfortable discussing intimate topics, Stoic wisdom encourages us to face uncomfortable truths with courage rather than avoidance. As Epictetus said, "It is impossible for a man to learn what he thinks he already knows." In this case, mutual understanding can only emerge through honest dialogue. However, these conversations must be approached with care. Initiate the discussion with kindness and patience, framing it as a matter of shared responsibility rather than an interrogation. Make it clear that you are not seeking to judge, but to ensure that both of you are aligned in caring for your well-being. This approach reflects the Stoic practice of sympathia, recognizing the interconnectedness of human experience and fostering trust through empathy. If, after several attempts, your partner remains unwilling to engage in these discussions or continues to give evasive responses, it may be a signal that deeper issues are at play. A relationship devoid of transparency, particularly in areas as essential as sexual health, cannot offer the stability required for long-term growth. As Marcus Aurelius advised, the object of life is not to be on the side of the majority, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. If her reluctance creates an atmosphere of confusion or mistrust, it becomes necessary to protect your peace by reconsidering your involvement. The Stoic path teaches us to embrace what we can control and release what we cannot. If your efforts to build trust and clarity are not reciprocated, the wisest choice may be to step back. A relationship built on avoidance cannot support the weight of meaningful connection, and both partners deserve honesty and safety. You owe it to yourself to seek a partnership where truth, no matter how uncomfortable, is met with openness and respect. 9. Avoids introducing you to her friends. A meaningful relationship naturally leads to the integration of social circles, where both partners gradually introduce each other to the people who matter most in their lives. When a woman consistently avoids introducing you to her friends, it may signal that she is either hiding something or unwilling to fully commit to the relationship. Stoicism reminds us that actions speak louder than intentions, and repeated avoidance in this area can reflect a lack of alignment between words and behavior. In any authentic relationship, transparency and inclusion are essential for building trust. If she is unwilling to share this part of her life, it leaves a gap that can slowly erode the foundation of your connection. This reluctance could arise from several sources. Perhaps she fears that her friends might reveal aspects of her past she prefers to keep hidden. Or maybe there are unresolved entanglements, such as past romantic involvements within her social circle, that she doesn't want you to discover. It could also reflect a deeper hesitancy to integrate you into her world, suggesting that the relationship holds less significance for her than it does for you. As Marcus Aurelius noted, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." If her actions suggest a lack of openness, it is essential to address these inconsistencies directly. Approach the situation calmly and without accusation, guided by the Stoic principle of praeotes, gentleness of spirit. Ask why meeting her friends seems difficult and express your desire for mutual transparency, not as a demand but as a gesture of care. True connection requires shared experiences beyond the private sphere, and if she values the relationship, she will understand the importance of including you in her social world. However, if she continues to make excuses or avoids the subject altogether, it may indicate that her reluctance is not situational but a deeper reflection of how she views the relationship. As Epictetus reminds us, the more we value things outside our control, the less control we have. You cannot force someone to share their life with you, but you can control how you respond to their behavior. If her refusal to introduce you to her friends leaves you feeling excluded or unimportant, it may be a sign that the relationship is not evolving in a way that honors your values and emotional needs. At times, The most stoic choice is to release what no longer serves your inner peace. A relationship that thrives only in isolation cannot grow into something lasting or meaningful. Trust requires openness, and a partner who keeps you at a distance may not be prepared for the depth of connection you seek. Walking away from such a situation is not a loss but a recognition of your worth, an affirmation that you deserve a relationship rooted in trust, transparency, and mutual respect. 10. Shifting priorities that leave you feeling neglected. In a relationship, both partners should naturally evolve to become priorities in each other's lives. When a partner's focus begins to shift, spending more time with new acquaintances, becoming consumed by other interests, or consistently disregarding plans you've made together, it can leave you feeling sidelined and unimportant. While life inevitably introduces new responsibilities and interests, a healthy relationship requires a conscious effort to maintain balance. As Stoic philosophy teaches, where your attention goes, your life follows. If her energy is increasingly diverted away from the relationship, it is a sign worth paying attention to. These shifting priorities might reflect more than just a busy schedule. It could indicate that her interest in the relationship is waning, or that she no longer values your presence the way she once did. This change, though subtle at first, can foster emotional distance and resentment over time. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, the happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts. If you begin to feel neglected, it is essential to address your concerns before negative emotions take root. Waiting passively in the hope that things will improve often leads to frustration and disappointment. However, before assuming the worst, it is important to consider external factors. Perhaps her sudden shift in focus is the result of unforeseen challenges, such as personal stress, career pressures, or emotional struggles that have temporarily consumed her attention. In the spirit of Stoic empathy, initiate an honest conversation about what you have observed. Share your feelings openly, but without demanding explanations or making accusations. As Epictetus taught, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Listening with patience allows room for understanding and growth, creating space for solutions to emerge naturally. But if your partner continues to neglect the relationship despite your efforts to communicate, it may be a sign that her priorities no longer align with yours. Relationships require not only love but praxis, consistent action that reflects commitment and care. When these actions are absent, it is essential to accept the reality of the situation. As Stoicism teaches, we must focus on what we can control: our responses, our decisions, and the people we allow to shape our lives. If you find that her shifting priorities persist, leaving you feeling isolated or undervalued, the wisest course may be to walk away. True connection flourishes when both partners make each other a priority. Anything less creates imbalance, diminishing both peace and personal growth. By stepping back from relationships that no longer serve you, you honor your own worth and open the door to connections built on mutual respect and shared purpose. Conclusion. In the complex landscape of relationships, it is essential to trust your instincts and remain attuned to the subtle signs that reflect the emotional reality between you and your partner. Stoic philosophy teaches us to observe without haste and to act with wisdom, balancing empathy for others with a firm commitment to our inner peace. Relationships, no matter how promising they may seem, must be built on foundations of transparency, respect, and mutual care. Anything less can compromise not only your happiness, but also the clarity needed for personal growth. If certain behaviors, such as shifting priorities, emotional avoidance, or secrecy, begin to weigh heavily on your mind, take them as opportunities to reflect. The Stoic practice of self-mastery reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others, but we do have the power to choose how we respond. Walking away from a relationship that no longer serves your values is not a sign of failure but an act of courage, an acknowledgement of your worth. As Epictetus teaches, Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. Remember, a relationship that aligns with your values will foster both connection and growth, allowing you to walk the path of self-development with peace and purpose. If your current relationship challenges your peace or forces you to sacrifice your integrity, it may be time to release it. In doing so, you create space for something more meaningful, a connection rooted in honesty, trust, and shared purpose. Thank you for joining us on this reflective journey. We hope these insights have empowered you to navigate relationships with greater clarity and confidence. If this message resonates with you and you value discussions that integrate Stoic wisdom with practical life advice, please consider subscribing to our channel. Stay connected for more content designed to inspire personal growth and philosophical reflection. And don't forget to leave a comment sharing your thoughts. We look forward to hearing how these insights have impacted your perspective. Until next time, walk with wisdom, live with purpose, and remain steadfast on the path of self-mastery.